Right as I was starting it too. You old goat, you got me again.
What are we doing?
I don't know anymore, man. I'm playing a music song.
Oh.
Shit. There we go.
What'd you do now, you piece of shit?
Well, I got different buttons for when it's only two people because I have a really unreliable staff.
Uh-huh.
I forgot
Tell
to
us
switch
more.
over to that second set of buttons. It's all the windows are cropped a little bit differently and everything like that.
You know what else is cropped a little differently?
Shut up, dude! I gotta do the intro
What?
before we lose everybody. I gotta do.
We gotta
the
do
intro.
what?
There's a couple of things that people come to this podcast for. One of them is the intro. The other one is the rest of our content. And if I don't do one of those things, people are gonna leave. Anyways, hello and welcome to the Benzo Rehab Dungeon. It's the 7th of Cocktober, 2022. This is episode 112.
Damn.
I am your host, Michael Deebs. I am joined, as sometimes, by co-host Danko Suvin, who is appearing as Sonic emerging from the machine of the future. John, the producer, is either dead or alive.
Again.
It's like Schrodinger's John, the producer. Really hard to tell until we let him out of the box. That was probably a bad joke to make.
Well, no, I mean, you're right.
Like the multiple meanings of a box,
And the only reason that I got real quiet about it is that I've been thinking about that a lot recently. Not a cool, like, I'm very smart and I think about quantum mechanics a lot kind of way.
Yeah.
But more of a, I'm really dumb and I like to think about the ways in which everyone's dumb kind of way.
That's true.
And it's really frustrating when I think about the Schrodinger's cat thing, right? Because the takeaway that most fucking nerds that have a Schrodinger's cat like t-shirt, the way that they end up taking it, is that the cat is both dead and alive.
Yeah.
Which the whole fucking point is that it's absurd and we have a problem we need to fix, because that can't be true.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway, that's
often cited
all I have
for
to
the
say
wrong
for the pod.
reasons. Anyways, we do pleasantries at this particular point in the podcast.
Oh,
Danko, how are you? How you been? You were gone last week because you had I believe it was
colonoscopy.
Okay, yeah. I was gonna
Wait, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say you had HIV, but I don't know.
That's also true.
Yeah.
They wanted to figure out how I got it.
Right.
By looking into my butt.
Because you've never had gay sex. Or any kind of
Great.
sex, really.
I'm just like, yeah, I just keep sitting on all these needles. Into my asshole. Which is true, but it's part of the gay sex I have.
It's what they don't tell you about going to the public park, is all the needles you end up sitting on.
Yeah, just pointing directly up in a cluster, perfectly sized, with a little what do they call those little dilators? Yeah, with a little dilator around them. Yeah.
How you been?
That's how I've been.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've been dilating, and a lot of it's been rough.
Well,
how are you?
To hear that. I'm pretty okay. Another hectic work week that I went through.
Oh hell yeah!
And they keep telling me it's the last time it's gonna be so hectic, and I don't believe them. Other employment opportunities are being sought, though. Who cares? Yeah, so I've been okay. I watched a bunch more TV because I was out of town again for work.
I think
Um,
I watched something too, but frankly, I don't remember.
yeah, that's kind of how I feel about TV now that I've had access to it like 3 or 4 weeks of the last couple of months. By way of being up in a hotel room, and TV sucks. It's incredibly forgettable, except for like all the the really bizarre, shitty stuff just kind of becomes background noise. I told,
Yeah.
well, I mean, you listened to the part of the podcast last week where I was telling John about how I saw an ad for people looking to sell their life insurance policies for
Right,
cash
right.
today. Yeah, and so it's a lot of that
Well,
kind of stuff, and just like constant scams being advertised. So yeah,
yeah,
but
but to be fair though, I can think of one really good circumstance for that life insurance thing. Which is not something I put a whole lot of thought into. But if you did have a
Uh-oh.
pretty large life insurance policy,
Right.
and then you were like, fuck it, I don't want to do this anymore, but I want my family to get paid,
Yeah.
you can't just kill yourself, right? You have to make it look like an accident, or else they're not going to pay out. So at that point, when you're like, that's just a commercial for suicide, is what it is.
It probably is. It's a commercial
Yeah,
for suicide, or it's a commercial for people who are feeling the economic pressure of our times. And
that's what I said. That's
oh,
exactly what I
right,
said.
yeah, okay, yeah. Well, then we're both talking about the same thing in different words, as we oft do.
Also, I'll have you know that I just got a one word text, and it just says dilating in all caps.
Oh,
So
good.
yeah. So
Yeah,
our listeners, we know that they listen to the nuance in what we're
yeah.
saying.
It's only people that know us well enough to have phone numbers and
No,
send
I just
us
give mine
cryptic
out.
messages. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You want me to start putting it in like the description of the podcast?
I mean, I do have a Google number for all sorts of things. Uh and it would be pretty funny to just give them my Google number.
Please do not rope the listener and viewer in with the vagabonds and wenches that you give out your Google number to. These are fine, upstanding people who watch the show or listen to it. Primarily listen to it.
Yeah,
We
because
looked
they're
up the metrics
primarily
right
good
before.
people.
Right.
Anyone
Right.
else is,
Yeah.
don't worry
Cool.
about it.
Glad we got that out of the way. Did you want to talk about any of the films you watched, or are we done with that?
Sorry, I just got another text about dilations.
Uh-oh. Oh shit.
Fuck, I'm dying, dude.
Yeah, cool.
No, actually, like I
Solo
literally can't
episode.
remember what I watched, but I know that I watched some things, and I was thinking I'm going to talk about this on Benzo, but then I didn't.
All right. We'll move
What
on
did
from
you
that then.
watch? Anything fun?
Well, I watched one of the movies that you're going to talk about.
What was it?
It was Saint Maud.
Oh yeah.
It's an older
How'd that go? Oh
film.
yeah. So this includes last week. Yeah, I did watch some movies.
Yeah, yeah. You didn't
I
appear
wasn't
last
here.
week.
I was absent,
Yeah.
non-present.
You were
Yeah,
spamming the
so
chat.
I watched Saint Maud and Hail Caesar. Both of which were pretty good.
Yeah, I like Saint Maud actually. I didn't get around to watching Hail Caesar because I've been busy, but Saint Maud was good.
Yeah.
I like the way it progresses. Is there anything you want to say besides it was pretty good?
Well, no, like I'm
Oh,
curious at this point what your feelings are about it.
you can't do the turn it around on me thing like that, man. No, I thought it was good. It explores the mania inherent with like deeply held religious belief, especially in the context of something like Catholicism or Christianity at large, I guess. Um, It's a couple years old, so if we're spoiling anything, you missed your chance to see it when spoilers were still relevant. But a young woman who does hospice care for people gets employed by a woman who has we'll say looser morals than the caretaker does. The caretaker is she's part of like a Catholic order of hospice nurses or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, they have conflicts with the dancers' kind of loose morals and the Catholic lady's strong moral compass. But the Catholic lady ends up kind of going crazy about it because she wants to save this person's soul before she dies. Uh, I don't think that ends up
She,
happening.
yeah, and she has like a deeply erotic connection to Jesus.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah. She wants Jesus to bang
to,
her real bad.
yeah, to Welsh Jesus, who does bang her a lot. It's just we don't see a whole lot of it, I guess.
Right, yeah. Off camera,
We,
Jesus banging.
but yeah, I mean it's also funny because I mean I don't disagree with what you're saying about like her having loose morals, but if you you know if you're watching the movie, the version of loose morals that's established in there is that she gets drunk once and then otherwise she's a lesbian who used to dance.
Yeah, 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 yeah. No,
Like that's loose morals to this woman.
right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No,
Which
I'm
rules.
putting it in the context of the movie, of
Of
course.
course, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Maud ends up like foisting, yeah, actually foisting herself
Yeah.
into something like sainthood. I'm not gonna use the word that would ruin it. But it's a fun movie. It has a little bit of that ambiguity throughout it, which is fun, where it's never entirely clear if she's totally nuts or not, even though that's I think established in the end, which kind of bugs me about the movie. I kind of wish it was a little bit more ambiguous, but you know it's kind of leaning. Yes, yes, the ecstasy of Saint Teresa. She looks like that sculpture in so many different shots, and like that's maybe my favorite part of the movie is that uh she she's this really unassuming Welsh actress who just looks like any British person essentially.
Don't tell the
But
Welsh
the
that.
way yeah. But the way that they kind of angle the shots and her own kind of like facial structure and everything, she looks like Saint Teresa in that sculpture repeatedly, especially when she's doing the whole, gaspy I just fucked Jesus thing that she does repeatedly in the film.
Yeah.
Um but yeah, it rules. That was probably the part that I enjoyed the most, was just the way that little subtle things like, or subtle-ish things like that were structured. But the other movie, the one that you didn't watch, just the really brief thing that I want to kind of gesture to, because I'm curious if people might have something to say about it, or just to kind of think about it on their own, but was Hail Caesar, which also was, an not super new movie. I think like 2014 or 15 or something like that.
Yeah, I think you're
Like was
right.
right before the end of the world started. um,
Right before Trump ruined everything.
poo. Right before things started getting really weird. But it's a cool movie because it's the Coen brothers, so it's written in a way that's both pretty serious and also really fucking silly. But and it has a whole bunch of great actors. But what the two interesting things that happen in it are that one of the characters gets kidnapped by communists. And of course, they make out the communists to be jokes, just the same way that they make the capitalists out to be jokes. But they actually do a pretty decent, like 10-second description of what Marxism and like Hegelian kind of thought are. which was fun to see in a movie with like fucking George Clooney in it. Really kind of surprising. And then on top of that, they ended up doing something really interesting with like Hegelian dialectic and the Trinity, and describing how God can be split into three like that. And it's it's a fascinating kind of movie in these tiny little gestures that never really go to anything that's super satisfying in the end, but allow you to kind of think about it as the movie's going and afterwards. But fun movie for people. I don't think it was received very well. I think it kind of failed in the box office, like a couple of the Coen Brothers movies have, despite them being really fucking good. But
Right.
yeah, that's my whole thing.
Cool. Let's
Was there
move
news
on.
this week?
Yeah, there's
Did
news
anything
this week,
happen?
Yeah, a few things have happened this week. We're gonna go to a section that I just made up. It's called Cop Watch.
Cop Watch.
And if I spent more time on the production of the show, I'd have a button I press where it like does like siren noises, and then maybe you get like the sound from that song. It's like bad boys, what you gon'?
You know, we literally have the technology for this.
Yeah, I have it
and
sitting
you
right in
just
front of me
decided-
within like a button's press away.
Yeah. And you decide to use it for like Ben Shapiro voice little.
It's not gonna lick itself.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
And realistically, I don't use it for that either. So I mean,
I have one and I haven't even programmed it.
Yeah.
It's plugged in and everything.
Right.
I even set up all the buttons to be part of a larger piece of beautiful art that I can't show anyone right now. But
Yeah, right.
yeah.
So Cop Watch.
Cop Watch.
The Uvalde School District suspends full police force months after shooting. This has been way too long to do this. But they finally
how
did
many
it.
shootings happened in between there? I'm sure like 4 or 5.
Yeah. Major ones are everyday ones. It's really kind of the distinction that we had to make. So what kind of ultimately led up to this, a lot of people think, is that the moved. Come on, Guardian. Write your shit better. The move followed a wave of outrage over the hiring of a former Texas state trooper who was part of the hesitant law enforcement response during the May shooting at Robb Elementary School. So, immediately after the shooting, there was a listing for the Uvalde Police Department, and of course, like, people shat all over that because it's like, well, why would we want to hire more police there when they don't do shit anyways? And one of the hires that they did during this was a state trooper that just kind of also stood around and did nothing except for like hold people back from entering the school to like retrieve their kids and shit.
Yeah.
So that
they arrested some of them. Or at least
oh yeah,
them,
you're right. They did make some arrests that day. Wonderful. How that worked. Yeah, so people obviously protested that. The locals, who many of them are still grieving the loss of children that they knew and loved, were not very pleased with that decision. On top of, it took them, I think it's like a couple of weeks ago, so it's taken them months still to do this. But they fired the police chief finally. Months later, and now they're finally putting these police on suspension. I don't know if it's going to be a permanent sort of thing. I think they're trying to feel out where they need to go next. But you know how states are. They those cops will get recycled back into the system. They'll be fine.
Oh yeah. They might get like awards for it too.
Yeah,
in a fun way.
Maybe not like official awards, but some like conservative Republican benefactor will throw them some soiree and be like, "You've received the medal of standing up to the woke mob."
Right. It'll be a mix of that and then like some police union affiliated group that'll just be giving them an award that's something like was present for a school shooting award, and it makes him sound like a hero.
Jesus Christ. Like how a lot of people in the military got their combat action ribbon is just by being near somebody who was shooting.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, my
But
uncle, rest his soul. He got a Purple Heart in Vietnam because he fell off of a pole that he was on.
I mean, it happened in a war zone, did it not?
It did. I mean, there's argument in the family, and I still do not know what actually happened. But some people say he was shot in the ass and then fell, and some people say he just fell. So either way, pretty funny. Pretty funny way to get injured in Vietnam. Anyway,
out of all the
now.
funny ways to get injured in Vietnam, like that's probably the second funniest, with the funniest being falling into a punji pit.
Yeah, it's
I mean, like, oh my god, you got me with one of the oldest tricks, guys.
Yeah, I got fucking injured by a cartoon hole full of poop sticks. But
see, it's funny, right? Like that's what
it is really fucking funny.
That's exactly my thought about it. It's kind of fucking funny.
And you know, call me controversial, but I don't think being a child lit on fire by napalm is that funny.
No, that's
I don't think it's funny at all.
Least funny injuries of Vietnam is
it is
napalm death as a child.
And if people think it's a great band, by the way, but some of my favorite 2-second long songs, but so for anyone that's really upset about us thinking that you know, dying in a punji pit and a little tiger pit is funny, just look within and ask why you think children dying from napalm is funnier.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because that's what you think.
If you have to rank them in terms of funniness.
Hey, don't open this up anymore. it's...
Gun to your head, you know, like that one guy from that picture in Vietnam.
You know what's funny? It's I mean, it's clear enough which picture you mean, because it's, you know, the one famous one.
Yeah.
But it took me a second where I thought about a couple photos I know from Vietnam where that's happening.
yeah, of course.
And it's like, oh yeah. Which of the half dozen photos? Oh, the one. The one.
Big one.
You know, the big one.
it's just like school shootings. You know, you got your everyday school shootings and you got your big ones.
Exactly.
Ugh.
Very cool.
That didn't feel good to say out loud. It's a continuing cop watch. So internal LAPD report rules that officers' training death was an accident. You may have heard about the training accident death of the LAPD. This is a follow up to it wherein the LAPD's own people said, no, we looked into it. No way to have avoided this. The officer's name was Houston Tipping, and he died during a training exercise.
Fake name.
It's got to be a fake. This is a false flag. Mr. Tipping happened to be.
It's worse if you don't say his whole name.
I know. Yeah.
Mr. Tipping.
Officer Tipping.
Oh man. Hell yeah.
He had reported and was investigating some kind of sexual assault incident that happened internally to the LAPD. And he just happened to die in this training exercise. So
motherfucker got Pat Tillman.
Yeah, I mean, this is a very Pat Tillman death.
Yeah.
This inquiry did not identify anything that, if implemented before the accident, would have conclusively prevented Officer Tipping's death, said one of the slides from Rhodes' presentation to the commission. Rhodes was their... Elizabeth wrote... They didn't even put the E in her name. Her parents, I mean. Elizabeth Rhodes, director of the LAPD's Commission Office of Constitutional Policing and Policy, which sounds like one of the most made up roles you could have with the LAPD. What do you do? Well, I run the Office of Constitutional Policing and Policy, which is essentially I run interference for all the bad shit we do as a police force.
Yeah, it's funny because it's definitely made up either way, but it could either be exactly, what it probably is, or it could just be like a libertarian group that's like violently anti-cop, but in a really bootlicky way.
Gadsden flag waving guys going, we need to have more constitutional policing.
Yeah,
and there's
exactly.
literally nothing about policing in the Constitution.
We need to go back to arresting black people for being slaves.
That's what they did. That's what they did. You're spitting fire, son.
Pew, pew, pew.
So funny enough, the first statement is this inquiry did not identify anything that if implemented before the accident would have conclusively prevented Officer Tipping's death. That's followed up with the department's report offered 5 recommendations to enhance future trainings. So kind of sort of implying, hey, maybe we could have done a couple of things differently to have prevented his death. The findings square with a previously completed autopsy, which found that Tipping had suffered a fatal spinal cord injury during the fall and also ruled his death accidental. Essentially what happened is he was doing some kind of, and I'm not a fan of Officer Tipping, by the way. I'm going to throw that out there because
not with a name like that.
ACAB, even if they're dead and even if they have a funny name and even if they were doing like one decently good thing.
Even if you're a whistleblower, even if you're a cartoon dog.
I don't care if you're on Paw Patrol. You're a fucking pig. So what he was doing was basically riot control training, more or less. And you've seen videos over the last couple of years of police on bikes, right? Bike police using their bikes as kind of like makeshift barricades to corral people and shit like that.
Which is so funny.
Yeah, it is funny.
Imagine getting kettled by dudes on bicycles.
Yeah, imagine just not. Never mind. I'll get us taken off the air if I say what I want.
Ooh, tell us.
No. It was gonna be some.
You have to now.
It was gonna be some anti-state pro-violence.
Say it, nerd.
No.
Say it, nerd.
Just, like, imagine taking the bike and like beating the cop up a little bit. Not to
That's
death
not
or,
so
not
bad.
To, well, I was gonna say something worse, but we don't.
Like, imagine using it like it's the big old club and you're a cartoon character. You're like you're a Neanderthal
beating up a cartoon dog that happens to be wearing a police uniform. Anyway, so yeah.
What's up with the? I'm sorry to interrupt you, but what's up with the advertisement on your screen of the the
rabbit?
The rabbit.
I don't know, man.
That's apparently like gender fluid bunny, trans bunny.
Yeah, it's
what
like
is it?
the psycho trans bunny or something. I don't know, man. I'm not.
What is the? I don't know how the flags work, man.
No, that's the colors of the trans flag. So yeah.
Yeah,
and it appears to have all the genders in it. So
yeah, so it's a trans bunny. But it's
got it's got the cutie psycho thing going on with it. Anyways, back to the article that matters.
I'm sorry, dude. We gotta look at trans bunnies more.
Oh man, it's showing up again.
And what's happening beneath it? There's like it's
a
I don't want to say
bear with a bear attached to his arm.
Yeah, like this is gonna sound like an anti-queer dog whistle, and I genuinely don't mean it that way. But it does look just like Pedo Bear with like a weird symbol on his chest, especially because his hand is inside of the skull of a smaller bear. Yeah. Like, what's going on there?
It's actually Groomer Bear.
That's it's Groomer Bear with his fist up inside of Pedo Bear. And now there's a pig. It's like a wolf pig.
I don't know, man. Look,
what's happening here?
We got to get back to the article.
Click it. Tell me what the company is so I can research them. Click it. Click it. Click it. Coward, you won't.
Mysterious.
That's
Mysterious.
That's
American McGee.
Abs, right?
Huh?
That's just abs on that bear. It's bare-fisted, ripped.
Yeah.
Man. Oh, no. This has to be like an anti-queer psyop, this whole website, right?
It must be. It's American McGee.
This is not,
so
no one thought that this would be cool and good.
I don't know how much you know about American McGee, but he does the spoopy,
the Alice game.
Yeah.
And everything.
Spoopy, everything's crazy. I'm so random and demented sort of stuff. Anyways, back to the article.
Where did American McGee come from? Because all I remember is the Alice thing. Like, I don't know anything else that he's done.
I think they did like some graphic novel sort of stuff.
That makes sense. Oh man, looking him up, and I want to beat this guy up more than I've ever wanted to beat anyone.
Yeah,
up.
Of course you do.
That's amazing.
I mean, we were just introduced to their works, I guess.
American McGee, come on the podcast.
Yeah, so we can beat you up verbally only. Only verbally.
So I could be mean to you.
So continuing on with the article. Now we got people in the chat commenting on fucking Pedo Bear.
That's what I'm saying. This is what the viewer wants. And if
I don't give a shit what the viewer wants. I come here with an agenda.
The listener is the only one that matters. It's a point that I'm trying to make here.
The listener is the broadest of all of our engagement with people who aren't us.
Like all those plushies fuck, and none of them fuck in a way that we want them to.
None of them are doing anything legal when they fuck.
Like if you wanna fuck your 10,000-year-old waifu pillow, you can. But if you fuck one of these plushies, that's not all right. Right?
Are you asking me, or are you asking me for permission?
No, I'm just checking to make sure we're on the same page here.
Yeah, I don't think you should fuck stuffed dolls.
How about the rest of my point? Can people fuck their 10,000-year-old body pillows?
No, you shouldn't do that either.
Their waifus?
Just be fucking normal. God. Go touch some grass. Go meet a real life person. Do anything besides putting your member inside of a pillow.
Is it a bad sign that my parents are calling me now?
Dorian, we heard what you said on the podcast. I don't know why I made them sound like that.
we just wanted to make sure that if you're feeling lonely, by the way, we're Jewish now, that we could make sure that when you come visit us next time, you get your body pillow.
We noticed you left it here. It's a little bit crunchy, but Ma threw it in the wash.
Why did you hide it under the bed, by the way?
Anyways, back to the article, please, for God's sake.
No, this is better.
No, it's not better. It's not better.
Talk about fucking stuffed things.
Attorney Bradley Gage, also a fake name, I'm sure.
That's a porn name.
Yeah. Who filed a wrongful death claim on behalf of Tipping's mother, has publicly questioned the account of the incident offered by authorities. Gage has argued that a laceration to Tipping's head and other injuries found during the autopsy could not have happened when and how authorities said they did. How do you, when falling to the ground, suffer a broken neck, a head laceration, a head hematoma, 3 broken ribs, and a perforated liver? Gage said in response to the report. First of all, that's different than what they said before. Before they said it was a grappling exercise and they had no discussion of a bicycle. On Monday, Gage leveled a new allegation during a news conference suggesting officers who were present at the training were upset with tipping over his role in an internal investigation. Moore dismissed that claim as being without any foundation. I have no idea where this attorney is coming up with these allegations. The police probably killed this guy. Every time something like this happens, just never go with the official story. Just always like when it's with cops, you're allowed to be a conspiracy theorist because cops do nothing but conspire.
It also, I mean, yeah, if you have a theory, well, yeah, I mean, if you're watching the news and they say something about an election, especially a major one, or if the cops tell you something, you can generally end up feeling that it's the opposite way.
Pretty much, yeah.
Right.
That's
actually why I'm a little skeptical about the DeSantis thing. Not because of the fact that I don't think that fucking weirdos will vote for him, but because people seem convinced that it'll be him. And so as soon as I end up hearing that, I'm like, oh, it's just gonna be Trump again.
I mean, I'm of the mind that it's gonna be him or Trump.
Yeah, I mean, it's believable. It's believable.
Yeah.
I just okay. So this might be controversial to people. If Hillary Clinton runs in 2024, I am going to vote for her. Because that's going to be the funniest possible thing that anyone could ever do is elect Hillary Clinton in 2024 after fucking like Trump and Biden got into the White House and just bringing her in to just fucking, because by now, like, she had already lost her mind, but just imagine where her brain's at now.
Oh,
like,
it's in such a bad place. You know, an interesting thing that maybe we should talk about at some point, not today, because we've got plenty of other things
is her
to talk
show about ladies. Have you seen that?
A show about ladies, but also, you know,
so
all
good with the
this hullabaloo, if you will, about the election stealing conspiracies of the right. So, you know, well, not all. A lot of Trump voters think that the election was stolen, et cetera, et cetera. All we heard during the Trump years from Democrats was how Russian influence is actually what made Trump win the election, which is just their own version of election stealing conspiracy theory, right? So it's interesting how now the conspiracy theorists that mainstream media is presenting as conspiracy theorists are people who think Joe Biden actually lost the election but cheated to win, when like the entire Trump presidency was Russians posting on Facebook is actually why Trump won, and therefore this election of Trump was illegitimate. And really what it kind of boils down to is, well, no, you have the electoral college, and so the popular vote doesn't mean anything to the presidency. And none of the Democrats want to change this rule, except for, like, you know, of course, a couple of outliers here and there. But I mean, this is the system that Democrats as a party uphold, and they lost because of it. And then the entire rhetoric of like their voter base was that Trump stole the election or was receiving Russian aid in the election.
And surprise, with the electoral college in a republic, every election is stolen.
Exactly.
All of them.
Exactly. Let's move on though. Speaking of Russians and Biden and Trump and all that, Putin's on his threatening nuclear wars thing again. And as we discussed last time, we talked about this. You and I specifically talked about this. You know, this little headline here says, "I'm not bluffing." Putin warns the West over nuclear weapons. This almost certainly is a bluff because I don't think. I mean, what would be the win here for him or anybody? And I don't think the people in charge of his military would let him just launch a nuke without stepping in if he was actually trying to launch a nuke. But interesting rhetoric going back and forth between Putin and Biden. So we can watch this clip of Putin here. Sadly, I think this is only captioned, but maybe it has an actual like live translator as well.
Мы сделаем все, чтобы обеспечить безопасные условия для проведения референдумов, для того, чтобы люди могли выразить свою волю.
Oh yeah, this is going to be horrible for non-Russian speaking listeners. Because there's nobody to translate it real time for them. The basic gist of this video, and I'm not going to play the whole thing because again, thinking of the listener who we prefer over the watcher. Basically, Putin says that he's not bluffing. He will use tactical nukes if necessary, and he's also going to ramp up the mobilization. This is something we already knew was happening. Like the 300,000 that he originally called up, there were reports that the number may have been as great as like 700,000 that he was actually intending to ultimately reach. So basically, he's just kind of confirming all of that, and also making a threat with nuclear weapons. And then we've got Biden kind of responding in a way, and doing it in kind of a shitty way, which is he did it at a fundraiser campaign off camera, but this will have the quotes from Biden about it.
He told an audience at a Democratic fundraiser, "We have not faced the prospect of Armageddon since Kennedy and the Cuban Missile Crisis." He, Putin, is not joking when he talks about potential use of tactical nuclear weapons or biological or chemical weapons, because his military is, you might say, significantly underperforming. And then the president said this: "I don't think there's any such thing as the ability to easily use a tactical nuclear weapon and not end up with Armageddon." That last sentence.
So lots of people have been freaking out about the president saying nuclear Armageddon is at our doorstep. Do you have any comments on this, or?
Sorry, I'm stupid, and I was having some audio difficulty. What were you saying? Apart from we're entering into the coolest part of history?
Oh, basically, both of these guys are doing the Cold War again, right?
Yes.
I don't think Putin is actually going to launch a nuke because he knows that would be not only suicide for himself, but for lots of people. And then Biden, at this fundraising event off camera and kind of behind closed doors, but not so behind closed doors that his words won't eventually make it to the mainstream, says that we're, on the doorstep to nuclear Armageddon, essentially. I was just wondering if you had any. That's all you got is just hell yeah.
No, dude, like that. It always feels pretty transparent. Like that's the thing about the nuclear war stuff.
Right.
Is that it's just I don't know.
It's almost
like
boring to me personally.
Yeah. It's like hearing the couple that lives next door shouting back and forth, "I'm gonna fucking kill you. I'm gonna fucking kill you." Except imagine that they're both like giant gay guys, I guess, so that you don't have to call about domestic violence. because neither one of them is much smaller than the other, is what I'm saying. Right? Like
that doesn't mean one of them can't kill each other.
Well, no, but they probably won't.
I think
I'm
this
saying.
Is a very
No, but they probably won't. And after 200 days of them saying that back and forth, it might happen eventually. Like statistically, it probably will eventually. But
right.
But how many how many of these nights are necessary in order to get to that point.
It's the boy who cried wolf, to put it in less anti-LGBT community terms.
No, this is anti-straight is what it is, Michael.
Oh, okay.
Because I think that the gays are able to negotiate this territory better than a man and a woman could.
That's true, because America did at one point drop a nuke, so we know that America's capable of it. What?
Are you saying America's inherently straight? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, it does explain a lot about Mishima in that case.
So, anyways, going on with this nuclear stuff. Now that you've slighted the gay community,
look, pal.
Hey,
look, pal. Just because I have this whole thing about the plushies, and I claim that you don't have to call the cops when gay guys are arguing about killing one another, doesn't mean I have any kind of weird hang-ups about the LGBTQ plus community. Apart from desperately wanting to be part of it, but not being able to because of the fact that my upbringing makes me feel weird about the fact that I'm gay.
all right, well, that's fair.
Thank you.
And I would never advocate for calling the cops in that situation. I would advocate for being a good neighbor and maybe stepping in to negotiate between the two gay gentlemen. I
like to I'm a big fan of portmanteaus, so I like to the portman's toes.
Yeah, I was gonna say you like portly men's toes.
Yes. So I like to fuse words together in order to make new words.
Yeah.
To save time, So I like to I have a word for gay gentleman. This is gentleman.
Oh,
because it starts with the G. Gay does.
Yeah, really got me there.
Yeah.
So Biden, of course, says this kind of an incendiary thing about how like nuclear Armageddon is right around the corner. We're back to the Cold War, baby. Spoiler alert: the Cold War never ended because ever since like the official close of the Cold War, we've still been arming submarines with nukes and like having them just kind of casually drift around in the ocean. As an implicit threat to everybody who we don't like. The Cold War never ended, but now it's just entering the forefront of news again because capitalism's failures have reached such a point that we have to have boogeymen all over the place, and nuclear threats that cause us to ignore our material conditions at the present moment.
That and like World War I never ended. Like it's all just
that's also true.
Continuation.
Yeah. We're still doing the first fight between guy with sharp rock and guy with long pointy stick. Really,
who won that one, by the way?
Nobody's won yet. Is the problem?
It was long pointy stick, wasn't it?
Yeah, of course it was
always
long pointy
range.
stick. It's yeah.
Range always wins, man.
I mean, you can throw the sharp rock, but once you miss, long pointy stick is the clear winner there.
Yeah, long pointy stick is really the ICBM of the Stone Age.
So
what about long pointy rock?
What's the difference
between about long pointy rock?
Rod?
Rock.
Oh, rock. Rocks don't work like that. They don't have a lot of tensile strength. You can't make a long pointy rock.
All right, let's go. Let's keep going.
Yeah, shut the fuck up. No, just kidding. The United States has no new intelligence on Russia's nuclear threats, the White House said Friday after President Joe Biden referenced a nuclear Armageddon on Thursday. The U.S. also does not have indications that Russia is preparing to imminently use nuclear weapons and sees no reason to change its current nuclear posture, White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre told reporters. He was reinforcing what we have been saying, which is how seriously we take these threats about nuclear weapons. Jean-Pierre said, "We have not seen any reason to adjust our own strategic nuclear posture, nor do we have indications that Russia is preparing to imminently use nuclear weapons." Basically, Biden's also talking out of his ass, is what the press secretary had to say there. But in like diplomatic terms, because she has to keep her job. If the Cuban Missile Crisis has taught us anything, it is the value of reducing nuclear risk and not brandishing it, Jean-Pierre said Friday. I don't know how how she can say that given the way that the U.S. Uses nuclear weapons as like an implicit threat always, but again, she works for the state, so we don't trust her.
No.
Also on the Russia front, the detonations of the Nord Stream pipeline, which I believe Sweden is now like officially investigating and found a bunch of evidence that yes, there was some kind of explosion that caused it. But this article here, it reads exclusive, but like a bunch of people are reporting on this now, so who cares? U.S. Navy jet flew across Baltic hours after Nord Stream burst. It's technically
it's a cool coincidence, is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, so this is a routine flight apparently, and what better way to mask that you're checking up on your operation than oh yeah, I just happened to be in the area anyways. We always do this flight. It's not like you can't schedule a blast around the same time that you would be in the area or something like that. But a U.S. Navy reconnaissance aircraft flew near the site of the ruptured Nord Stream 2 pipeline in the Baltic Sea hours after the first damage emerged, according to tracking reviewed by Reuters. A flight, Washington said, was routine. Who cares if it's routine or not? Like I was saying, you can schedule your operation to happen at the same time, coincidentally, as a routine flight. So, cart before or behind the horse, it doesn't really matter in this case.
Don't put the cart inside the horse.
Yeah, whatever you do, don't put the cart inside the horse, which is why they had the plane show up a couple hours later to check up on things.
There you go.
What's that?
There you go.
Yeah. I turned your bullshit into something workable. But a funny thing is, asked if any of the intelligence gathered might help investigators looking into the pipeline ruptures, U.S. Naval Forces Europe-Africa spokesperson Captain Tamara Lawrence said, "We do not have any additional information to provide at this time."
Right. I don't know. I don't.
Yeah, probably not. And it's like, well, did you notice that there was like weird bubbling shit coming out of the ocean on this routine reconnaissance flight, and you just didn't tell anybody for some reason, or like, what's going on there, buddy? It's unclear what role, if any, the U.S. military is playing to aid European investigations into the ruptures of the pipelines, although President Joe Biden has spoken about eventually sending down divers. Last week on the podcast, we played a clip of Joe Biden from before the Russia-Ukraine war, saying that if Russia...
He was underwater holding a comical, like a bomb with a fuse going.
He had the pipeline strapped to some train tracks, and he was twirling a mustache. But no, he essentially said if Russia invaded Ukraine, we would put an end to the Nord Stream 2 pipeline. Let's see. Where is the clip that I was supposed to have in here? Hold up. Hold up. I'm sorry, guys.
What are you doing? All right, I'll talk about LGBTQ plus IA.
No, you're not.
Plushies
don't talk about that anymore.
And how we should let the gays beat one another to death in the apartment next door. Did you find it?
I did find it. Yeah.
Good timing.
Yeah, because you were about to go down a real dark road. So last week we showed a clip of Biden saying that if Russia invaded Ukraine, they would put an end to Nord Stream 2. And then when a reporter was like, "Well, how would you do that?" He was just like, "Don't you worry, we'll find a way." Almost exactly how he delivered that line, to be honest with you. He
fucking worry about it.
yeah. We got submarines, we got allies in the area, we got resources, baby. Here is Antony Blinken talking about Antony Blinken is what, Secretary of State, right? Or is he Secretary of Defense? I always get these guys mixed up.
Sorry, I'm
Secretary of State. I was right the first time.
I'm looking at American McGee's plushies.
Get the fuck out of here. You got to get off of that one.
Look, they're fascinating. You know?
Yeah. I'm sure they are. I'm
Sorry,
sure they're
go
so
on.
demented and kooky and
What were you
interesting.
saying about the really important secretary of your butt or whatever?
So the secretary of my butt, Antony Blinken, talking
That would be
about
really
the Nord Stream pipeline being blown up. And it's interesting the terms he uses when he's talking about this.
Ultimately, this is also a tremendous opportunity. It's a tremendous opportunity to once and for all remove the dependence on Russian energy, and thus to take away from Vladimir Putin the weaponization of energy as a means of advancing his imperial designs. That's very significant, and that offers tremendous strategic opportunity for the years to come. But meanwhile, we're determined to do everything we possibly can to make sure that the consequences of all of this are not borne by citizens in our countries, or for that matter, around the world.
So last week talked about how Russia has no incentive to destroy this pipeline. They already turned it off. And so whoever is responsible for blowing up the pipeline is probably trying to box Russia into having no post-war sort of solution or negotiation or like way to re-enter normal relations with all the surrounding countries that they do dealing with. Nord Stream is a huge project to them. It's a huge source of income for them. Whereas blowing it up when they have already just simply turned it off doesn't do anything to benefit them. However, Antony Blinken seems very excited about the prospect that this pipeline is now out of the way and Putin can no longer weaponize energy. Instead, somebody else has weaponized it for the future. I mean, the argument doesn't make any fucking sense, essentially, because now the energy is really, really weaponized because in order to, restart that stream, you have to now go through lengthy repairs and a whole process to, clear the lines of all the salt water that's now contaminated, etc. So I don't know. I'm still on the false flag front for this one.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a false flag, no matter who did it.
Of course, it's
Right.
yeah. I mean, it's a false flag one way or another. It just it doesn't make sense for Russia to have done this. By any
Yeah, I mean,
scope of
removing
imagination.
themselves from the market without having to say we chose to do it would be a funny, weird move, but I could see there being something there, though it does seem like the far less likely option for sure.
Yeah, because they already like intentionally removed themselves from the market.
Yeah.
So they're not afraid of like intentionally removing themselves from the market.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely seems more like the Western Great Satan,
Right.
bit,
Yeah.
you know.
And the U.S. in particular has always been against the Nord Stream pipeline because it means Russia gets to sell their gas, and we don't get to sell our gas. Now we're we're the only thing that a lot of Europe can rely on, which leads into the next article, which is a German minister, the German minister of economy specifically, criticized the U.S. over astronomical natural gas prices.
Nah.
Germany's economy minister accused the U.S. and other friendly gas supplier states of astronomical gas prices for their supplies, suggesting they were profiting from the fallout from the war in Ukraine. Some countries, including friendly ones, sometimes achieve astronomical prices for the gas. Of course, that brings with it problems that we have to talk about, Economy Minister Robert Habeck told regional German paper NAS in an interview published Wednesday, which was translated by NBC News. He called for more solidarity from the U.S. when it comes to assisting its energy-pressed allies in Europe. The United States contacted us. Well, yeah, I mean, it's a free market, right?
What is that?
We need to have solidarity in this free market, guys. The United States contacted us when oil prices shot up. The national oil reserves in Europe were tapped as a result. I think such solidarity would also be good for curbing gas prices, he said. Just a funny thing. Basically, you know, that this means that a lot of Europe, even if the war in Ukraine ends, is going to be more reliant on U.S. oil suppliers. So, you know, it's a net win for oil companies in America. Again, it has no real benefit to Russia, but has a huge strategic benefit to especially America, but also other Western nations. Just something to think about.
Hey, by the way, it's the gender dysphoria rabbit. That's what it is, which is a cool move.
Is it really fucking called that?
It is called that.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Isn't that awesome?
Imagine
that
trying
so
to monetize gender dysphoria. Hey, do you feel weird and not good inside a lot of times because you think that you present as something different than what you should present as?
Oh, like, can I please
buy
read them
this
off?
fucking rabbit? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. All right. This rules. Okay, so these are in fact the plushy dreadfuls, and they are made by American McGee, who is not a fucking psychopath, edgelord nerd, or anyway. Anxiety rabbit. Okay. Love rabbit. Okay. Gender dysphoria rabbit. Distressed white rabbit plush. Distressed is a pun. Cheshire kitten plush collector set. Goth rabbit. PTSD bunny. I love that one. He's wearing a mask and chains for some reason. I think that's the Elden Ring symbol on his chest. I'm not sure what's happening. Ouchie, which is just missing
send this link
limbs.
to the Discord so I can pull it up.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, the listener gets nothing but your descriptions anyways, but the viewer might as well get to see this shit, right?
Yes.
And my metrics are gonna be fucked for the rest of my life just by clicking on this link. I love it so much.
Same.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah. Angry rabbit, sleep paralysis, hysteria rabbit, hope rabbit, borderline personality disorder rabbit.
Oh, yeah, I found it. Wow.
I also love that Hope Rabbit is, because of its coloring, also obviously taking advantage of like trans people who are anxious.
Yeah.
Shy Rabbit, Pansexual Rabbit Limited Edition. OCD Rabbit, Love Kitten, Bunny Set, Anxiety Bunnies, Migraine Rabbit. There are 74 of these things. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna go through all the rest of them, but just know that, of course, there's Depression Rabbit, who's just a fat piece of shit. Numb Bunny, that's me. Rage Rabbit, also me. Hannibal Lecter, that's as cute as it's gonna get.
I think
Another pansexual rabbit. There's two of them.
One of the most amazing things about this is most of these are $45 fucking dollars.
Yeah. There's Ace Rabbit. There's among all these disturbing, terrifying things, there's a rabbit that doesn't want to fuck. The most normal rabbit of all of them here. A bare-fisted ripped bear, of course. Mad Cow, get it? That's very 2000. Trauma Bunny. Bunny, another freak.
I'm about to make an executive decision about no longer discussing these rabbits.
I'm
done
scrolling
with
through one more time
America.
to see if there's anything else
McGee.
excellent.
Is American McGee a guy or
It's a guy, and he looks the way that you think he looks.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's most of the good ones. Then there's some like there's like images, there's like drawings of a bunch of like Taurus rabbit, Pisces rabbit. There's drawings of them, but I don't see images of the actual ones, which makes me think that they're somehow even worse.
Oh yeah, all the astrology rabbits are just drawings, apparently.
I don't know what's going on here,
which maybe means that they're just waiting for people to order them so they actually make them. I don't know.
So we could just make up something. It's pretty cool.
Well, anyways, I think we're done with rabbit talk.
Don't be so sure, sir.
So we were talking about the very important pipeline that's blown up.
Yeah, but before we get to that, let's just point out that I'm going to open up a PO box, and if anyone wants to send me rabbits from this collection, I'd be very happy.
Listener, viewer, do not fucking do that.
Yeah,
please don't do that.
Come on,
don't fucking do that, please.
Also, Goth Rabbit is the least goth-looking doll on this whole thing.
I saw it. It was just like kind of like a light purple with some black.
Yeah, it's just purple. It's just a purple rabbit.
Yeah.
Anyways,
let's go to something a little bit more fun. I front-loaded
more fun than the bisexual personality disorder rabbit. I love that idea as a personality disorder. It's bisexual personality disorder is when you walk into a room and no one notices you.
Right.
Get it?
Yeah.
Get it?
I get it.
Get it? Anyway, go on.
Yep. So speaking of bi rabbits, Biden has decided to pardon all federal offenses of simple marijuana possession. This article says, in first major steps towards decriminalization, I'm a little bit less optimistic about this, and I'll tell people why in a moment. First thing I'll say is
because you can erase everything that Kamala Harris has ever done, but you don't want to rub it in her face.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean that itself is kind of funny that someone like Kamala Harris makes so much of their career off of putting young, especially black men in prison for marijuana possession before it's legalized in California. And then now Biden is pardoning a bunch of federal offenses for this crime. CNN is, of course, way more optimistic about this than I am, and we'll go to an article in a second that shows why I'm not so optimistic about this. However, I do think this is better than nothing, which is kind of what you can just expect from Biden. As there's this debate going on whether or not this is just a stunt to help Democrats out in the midterms, and of course it is. But what the stunt is essentially giving people, the people, what they ultimately want, which is marijuana decriminalization, in a lot of cases legalization, but
Yeah,
especially
I don't know
just
why
like,
you're adding all these extra words. You could just say marijuana.
yeah, what people want is marijuana.
Thank you.
But it's like 75 to 80% of Americans are in favor of at least decriminalization. So here's the thing. The Democratic Party, very much in line with also how they did student debt relief, is going to give you a couple of bones so that you feel good about voting for them in the midterms, despite the fact that they've really kind of achieved nothing legislatively. And Republicans are kind of right in calling this a stunt because functionally it's not actually going to do a whole lot. But the funny thing about what's considered a stunt is this is just what like people would like to happen. And the Democratic Party is only doing it to appease people. Is where I'm getting at here. And I'm glad that they're doing something to appease people, but we need to also understand that there's not a whole lot of like genuine effort or motive here also. So we'll go to the next link because the next link is more important. And this is from Roll Call, which is actually kind of like pretty centrist in a lot of ways, as an institution of news talk. But Biden's marijuana pardons limited but spark legalization talk on Hill. And essentially the problem here is President Joe Biden's intent to pardon thousands of people convicted of possessing marijuana may have a limited impact on its own, even as it stirred debate about federal legalization. As part of a broader announcement on marijuana policy, Biden said Thursday that he would pardon the thousands of people with federal misdemeanor convictions for simple possession of marijuana. That is incredibly specific language for a reason. White House officials said that more than 6,500 people were convicted of possession between 1992 and 2021, with thousands more under a law that covers Washington, D.C. Mark Osler, a law professor at the University of St. Thomas who studies sentencing and clemency, said that the actual number of people released from prison by the pardons will be small. Because the law is a misdemeanor, federal prosecutors frequently do not charge simple possession on its own, he said. To people who have that marijuana conviction on the record, it is significant, though. It is something that they won't have to report in the future. That's probably a burden lifted off of a lot of people, and that's a good thing. I agree with that. Osler said the last time a president granted pardons on the same scale was when President Jimmy Carter granted a blanket pardon for hundreds of thousands of people who dodged the draft during the Vietnam War, a far larger number than those affected by Biden's move. In terms of a categorical grant like this, it's not done very often, Osler said. Osler added that the pardon grants at the state level, such as those done by Colorado and Pennsylvania in recent years, can affect more individuals. So really, if this was done on a state level, it would have way more impact. But of course, Biden operates on the federal level, so that's not something we can really hold against him. We'll go down to the more important thing. So Osler points out that Biden's pardons. So he first off points out that often possession of marijuana isn't the only charge that somebody has brought against them when they're caught with marijuana. Usually, what happens is it's possession with intent to sell, which is a different crime. So Biden pardoning people who are just charged with possession is way different than possession with intent to sell. Possession with intent to sell is a made up descriptor of somebody who's carrying marijuana. You could be carrying an ounce and be prosecuted with intent to sell. It's really just kind of like well, do we feel like maybe he was gonna try to pass some off for $20 or not? It's completely made up whether or not you're convicted of possession or possession with intent to sell. So Osler said Biden's pardons target a subset of the far larger number of people convicted of possession with intent to sell, a felony with penalties ranging from 5 years to life imprisonment. No, this is not going to change the landscape. He says it doesn't repair the damage done by the war on drugs, but for some people, it will be a good thing. So the important thing to keep in mind here is that no, Biden isn't decriminalizing marijuana. He's starting a process that may end up leading to some decriminalization of marijuana. But ultimately, this is a half measure. And it's on the same track as student loan forgiveness, where it's crumbs thrown out to people so that you feel good about voting in the midterms for Democrats.
Yep. Don't know that I have anything else to add to that.
Yeah. Good. That means that
Hell
I had complete thoughts, and nobody's got a better brain than me.
I mean, I've had some complete thoughts recently too, mostly about PTSD money.
You're still looking at that fucking website, aren't you?
No.
Jesus Christ, man. All right, so I have front loaded all the depressing stuff, all the stuff that requires nuance, all the stuff that is kind of sad. Now we get on to the fun things that
It's
that we're
finally
gonna
time to be stupid.
It's finally time to be fully stupid.
Hell yeah,
You
dude.
started earlier than some people on this podcast would have liked
Hey.
you to start.
Hey.
I'm the only other person on this podcast. But we'll just go right into it. Elon Musk appears to be being now compelled to complete his purchase of Twitter. So this headline
That's
reads:
so funny.
Musk must complete Twitter deal by October 28 to avoid trial, judge rules. In a court filing on Thursday, Elon Musk said he wants Twitter to call off existing litigation in order to close the deal at $54.20 a share this month, which is the $44 billion offer that he gave earlier this year. And then kind of what his ploy is that he's trying to delay a trial as much as he can by saying, "Oh yeah, no, I'm gonna make a deal with you. Let's just go ahead and put off the trial. We don't need to go through all of that." And Twitter saying, "No, we're not gonna. Why would we put off the trial so that you can like disingenuously try to make a deal?" Again, $44 billion is way more than Twitter is probably actually worth. In fact, Twitter, to my knowledge, has never really been profitable in any kind of way whatsoever. They've always struggled with some way to be profitable, and one of the only times that I think they were genuinely profitable was when Donald Trump was on the platform and people were flocking to Twitter because every time Trump said something on Twitter, mainstream news would not stop fucking reporting about it. Everyone was taking it way too fucking seriously. Trump was the ultimate shit poster, and the sassiest shit poster at that, I think.
He's just the queeniest big old guy.
Yeah, he was super queenie about it all. But yeah, I mean, Twitter kind of is not worth much at all. And Elon Musk's $44 billion proposed deal that he went way too far in proceedings with to back out of even signing away like shit, I forget what you call it, but basically the right to investigate the investment that you're making. He signed that away, said, yeah, we're gonna go through with it, and then pulled out because he realized that I don't know, you shouldn't buy Twitter because Grimes left you.
Yeah, and it's especially funny because he after he ends up doing that, he then decides not to do it because he's investigated a little bit more, or that's his excuse.
Right, yeah. After signing away his rights to
rules.
investigate it, he decides to investigate it. But so Twitter is not taking the bait on this one, which is funny, and in a war between Twitter executives and Elon Musk, I can only hope that both kill each other. But a Delaware Chancery Court, and what I've always thought is funny is that this legal battle is happening in Delaware, which is famously pro-corporate, and especially like corporate-related debts, like
Right.
as like a rule, which also coincidentally is where Biden is from and why he's so keen on not getting rid of all debts with student loan debt, etc. But a Delaware Chancery Court judge ruled Thursday that Elon Musk has until October 28th to close his acquisition of Twitter if he wants to avoid a trial, granting Musk a slight delay. Earlier in the day, the Tesla CEO said he wanted to return to his original agreement to buy Twitter for $54.20 a share, and asked the social media company to end all litigation in order to close the deal. Twitter refused to oblige because why would they? They obviously have the leverage here.
Right.
And if they decided to stop seeking out litigation, they would essentially have to restart the process. So there's no incentive for them to do that. And it's a very thinly veiled attempt for him to say, "Oh, I'll do it," and then like, "Ahaha, I'm not actually gonna do it." But in a filing with Delaware's Court of Chancery on Thursday, Musk's side said Twitter should drop the court date scheduled for October 17th so that the necessary financing can be pulled together to wrap up the acquisition by October 28th. Anyways, funny. He's being forced to buy this thing because he went way too far. I mean, it's like if you went to a used car lot and signed all the documents, and then when they're handing you the keys, you're like, nah, I changed my mind.
Yeah, it's like if you wanted to cheat on your wife, and there's the two gay guys that are arguing next door, right?
Uh-oh.
And
yeah. Go ahead, try to work in this analogy that you've locked yourself into.
No, I don't want.
You're just gonna give up like that?
Yeah.
That's-
Yeah.
You've really been slipping lately, man.
Yeah, I know it.
All right, that's fair. So I'm glad you didn't finish that analogy because we got more to go into.
So you call them both up and ask, "Do you want to be my boyfriend?" And then they become your wives, and then you have to cheat on them, and it's the whole thing.
That didn't make any sense at all. But
damn it! I'm trying so hard here.
I don't think you are, honestly.
No.
Kind of phoning this one in.
I really am. Tired. It's been a long week, and those bunnies really fucked up my brain.
They sure did because they're so demented.
Exactly. They're so dark and disturbing.
All right. So after taking this massive L, Elon Musk tweets out.
Oh, I thought you meant the podcast.
No, I mean that is an L, but no. The particular L that Elon Musk is taking here. He responds to a tweet. Somebody who was I don't know, more or less on Elon Musk's side, as in like, oh wow, look at this awesome negotiator doing his negotiating stuff, because people who like Elon Musk literally have brain cancer. I don't know what else to say besides they're just so tragically fucking dumb that you can't save them. If you know somebody in your life that's like, Elon Musk is actually a brilliant businessman, shoot them in the head. Don't think twice. It's the right thing to do. Yeah. So Elon Musk replies to a tweet about this, saying buying Twitter is an accelerant to creating X, the everything app.
Oh, shut up. You
Yeah,
nerd.
right.
To creating.
Apparently, Elon Musk at one point acquired X.com, which is supposed to be where he launches the everything app that he's gonna do eventually. It's another one of his, I'm gonna do a thing. I'm gonna make the boring company, and we're gonna make tunnels real good, and then they never fucking do anything with it. Or I don't know. I'm gonna show you a cool electric truck, but literally not one of them has been delivered yet.
Dude, the fact that they got to the point where people wanted to buy them is
Oh yeah, that's insane. Excuse me. I actually have a friend that wanted to, and I don't know. One day he'll learn, or maybe I'll have to shoot him in the head. I don't know. But the concept of an everything app, often referred to as a super app, is massively popular in Asia, and tech companies across the world have tried to replicate it. A super app, or what Musk refers to as an everything app, has been described as the Swiss Army knife of mobile apps, offering a suite of services for users such as messaging, social networking, peer-to-peer payments, and e-commerce shopping.
Wow.
So Facebook, essentially, but with Amazon like tacked onto it, I guess.
Right.
But what are some examples of super apps? Chinese super app WeChat has more than 1 billion monthly users, according to one estimate, and is a ubiquitous life of daily or excuse me, ubiquitous part of daily life in China. Users can hail a car or taxi, send money to friends and family, or make payments at stores. In 2018, some Chinese cities began testing WeChat for an electronic identification system that would be tied to users' accounts, according to South China Morning Post. That fucking sucks, right? Like,
yeah, it's like it's the type of thing that he and the people that like him so much would complain about, and he really wants to make it.
Of course.
But I guess it's cool when he does it, right? Like,
yeah, it's cool when he does it. It's cool when his space program is like a shitty version of NASA, but like better funded.
yeah.
And so gets to act shinier and cooler, even though NASA is still doing way better and more interesting projects than SpaceX has ever done.
I am so excited to have a social credit score given to me by Elon Musk, though.
Right, yeah.
Every time I follow an OSHA rule, I get like a demerit.
Why the fuck would you want Elon Musk to be in charge of your ability to identify yourself? If that happens, I'll shoot myself in the head. Yeah. And you know, I know China's not necessarily bad all the time or anything like that. Social credit scores are just a different form of having like what we have in America, which is your credit score.
Yeah, I was gonna say social credit scores are a different version of credit score.
Just a regular credit score.
I wouldn't want Elon Musk to have control over my FICO score either. Like, that's the fucking thing.
Yeah,
that he shouldn't have control over any of this. It doesn't matter if it's fucking like Chinese or American. It's fucking garbage either way. And a private person, especially someone like this guy, shouldn't have control over it or say in it frankly.
Yeah, exactly. I barely want anybody at the helm of like any kind of I don't know social construct, right? Any
Yeah.
kind of social construct whatsoever, let alone the shittiest guy you know, who couldn't even be loved by Grimes.
A woman whose name is Grimes.
Yeah. I know she's got a real name, but I don't fucking care.
Yeah. But I
Uh,
mean, just as a
big-
thought experiment for folks,
Yeah.
if you think that a person should be in charge of a thing, just
wrong.
sit there for a second and close your eyes and just think of a person,
Yeah. Any person.
and then you're wrong. Have you met a person? Because they probably shouldn't be in charge of anything.
Even people I like, I don't want in charge of anything.
No,
yeah.
I shouldn't be in charge of anything in my
I sh-
own life.
I shouldn't
let
even be
alone
in charge
others.
of a podcast. To be
Yeah,
frank.
that's fucking true. You can't manage your fucking people.
Yeah, John is dead, I think.
Yeah. By the way, this PTSD rabbit's looking real good.
Yeah. The more time goes on, the PTSD rabbit looks better and better, huh?
Yeah. It's just you think we could screen print it onto a long pillow?
You're gonna fuck the PTSD rabbit, aren't you?
No, I don't want to make it worse.
Right. So why does Musk want to make a super app? During a question and
'Cause
answer
he's-
session.
Because he's lying.
Yeah, because he's a
I'm
piece
sure
of
he
shit
would
and he's
like
lying.
to do that, but he's
Yeah.
not. It's not real. It's not real.
Save the it's not real stuff for when
Oh.
we start talking about meta.
Oh hell yeah.
But during a question and answer session with Twitter employees in June, Musk noted there is no equivalent to a super app like WeChat outside of Asia. You basically live on WeChat in China, he said, adding he saw an opportunity to create such an app. Adding more tools and services to Twitter could also help Musk reach his lofty growth goals for the company. During the Q&A with employees, Musk said he wanted Twitter to grow from its 237 million users to at least 1 billion. Here's where I would like to pause for a second. I know lots of people, and I love lots of people who oftentimes find themselves in this trap. But 237 million users on Twitter. A not insignificant portion of those are bots, first off. Secondly, if somebody says something on Twitter and Twitter starts getting lit up, it's trending on Twitter, or like, I don't know, people are talking about it on the Twitter sphere, please understand that this is such a tiny fraction of all human life.
Right.
That if you take it seriously, you're fucking stupid. Again, I'm talking about some people I love, and they need to know that if you take Twitter seriously, you're if you take any kind of social media seriously, you're fucking stupid. Just don't do it.
Yeah.
Make fun of it, have a good time, get banned, as I currently am from Facebook for saying a gender reveal party I saw made me want to kill white people.
I mean, are we not allowed our feeling?
I exactly, and you know, it was flagged as hate speech. All I said is it makes me feel like killing white people.
Now, if your response to a gender reveal company, a gender, oh god, that's gonna happen.
Yeah. Oh,
if
I'm
your
sure it
response
already
to a gender
exists.
reveal party was, "I am going to kill white people,"
Yeah,
you'd still be right to feel that way, but then maybe
that's more of an actionable threat than what I did.
Exactly.
Exactly.
That was me
so-
doing a white person impression,
Yeah, I got it.
being a person of color myself.
So the last part of this article, have other U.S. tech companies tried this? Yes, Snapchat parent Snap Inc. previously introduced peer-to-peer payments called Snapcash. Spoiler alert: they were literally only used for sex workers, which I'm not against, but let's know what it is. Sex workers and low-level drug deals. But ended the feature in 2018, probably because of the two previous things I mentioned. It also made a push into mobile gaming and recently ended that venture as part of cost-cutting plans. Meta Platform Inc.'s Facebook and Instagram have also tried to expand beyond social networking and messaging into e-commerce. And reading this part is actually what made me think, oh, hey, let's check up on Meta. How is Meta and the Metaverse doing? Would you like to find out?
Yeah, no, but
No, we're gonna do
yeah.
it anyways.
All right.
So one of the first articles that came up when I decided to start searching out news articles for this is Meta's flagship Metaverse app is too buggy and employees are barely using it, says exec in charge.
Hell yeah.
And then an internal memo that was apparently released reads, everyone in this organization should make it their mission to fall in love with Horizon Worlds. You can't do that without using it. Pictured here is Horizon Worlds, which many people have made fun of course, because it is a really shitty Sims version of Mark Zuckerberg in front of the Eiffel Tower, and then I'm not sure what the building behind him from there is actually. Is that the no?
It's
got a cross at the
it-
top, but
I keep thinking it's one thing and then another. Like, is it the Sagrada Familia? No, it's not. Is it supposed to be the Cathedral of Barcelona? No. And then I was like, is it that Thai building? And it's like, no, it's not.
right. Yeah.
I'm sure it's something really obvious that we're just missing, but yeah. It looks like shit. That's all I know.
It does look like shit. The Eiffel Tower is some kind of orange texture, which I think famously the Eiffel Tower is not in real life.
No.
It's like
No,
a
I've never
black
been
wrought
there.
iron structure from what I know.
I'm not convinced that it even exists. I'm not convinced that,
yeah, I mean, do we even know that France
Paris.
is real?
Yeah.
But so Mark Zuckerberg released this image and people made fun of it, of course, because it looks like shit.
Yeah,
it looks like dog. It looks like one of the worst games you've ever fucking played. Because the terrain is completely flat. You've got a couple of like unconvincingly planted trees that all look the same, and then you have what are supposed to be hills but look like green clouds in the background.
or those hills? I just thought they were supposed to be like giant bushes.
I mean, maybe.
No matter what they are, they're
yeah.
unconvincing and bad.
Yeah.
But I mean, the worst part of it isn't even any of that. It's the rebrand of Zuck's face, because the first one was so frightening that they changed it to be more childlike, which is
worse.
Surprise, more frightening.
Yeah. He looks downright cherubic in this image, but not in a good way, like in a weird way.
I mean, definitely cherubic in the sense that I'm pretty sure this is the type of face that I'm going to see right before God sends me to hell.
Don't worry, it's where you belong. That's what the angel that drags you to hell says. But Meta's VR social network Horizon Worlds, the company's flagship metaverse app, is suffering from too many quality issues, and even the team building it isn't using it very much, according to internal memos obtained by The Verge. In one of the memos to employees dated September 15th, Meta's VP of Metaverse, Vishal Shah, said the team would remain in a quality lockdown for the rest of the year to ensure that we fix our quality gaps and performance issues before we open up Horizon to more users. Horizon Worlds lets people build and interact in virtual worlds as legless avatars. Wow. Sort of like Roblox meets Minecraft. I don't know anything. I don't know anything about Roblox, but I know in Minecraft you at least have legs.
All I know is that in Roblox, you use children to make money.
Yeah, I've never looked into Roblox, but I know that there's some dark elements to it, just in the way it functions, not necessarily by design, but as an accident of design. There's a lot of predatory stuff that goes on there. Anyways, it's a key initiative following CEO Mark Zuckerberg rebranding of Facebook to Meta. The company is spending billions per year to build his vision of the metaverse. The multiplayer platform was released on Meta's Quest headset in December of last year. It hit 300,000 users earlier this year and is supposed to be coming to mobile and desktop via a web version sometime soon. Can you imagine how shitty a web interface, like you load up your Chrome browser and then you log into Meta and now you're inside the metaverse? Can you imagine how shitty that's going to be? Like, have you ever played any other browser games and how shitty they are?
Yeah.
So
That's pretty cool.
Another one of the reasons I wanted to look into this is Meta is almost a full year old now. When Zuckerberg originally announced the metaverse, it was October 28th, 2021. Which feels like forever ago, but that's how recent it was. So it hasn't even been a full year that Meta was announced as a company, kind of replacing Facebook or becoming like the parent company of Facebook, I guess. I wanted to take a look at so we saw this little Horizon Worlds thing, which looks like absolute dog shit. And earlier this year, June 15th, Meta published new videos which highlight the possibilities of its metaverse vision. And these kind of things are the funniest things to watch, I think, because there's been so much imagination about what Meta and the metaverse can be. And we made fun of it at the time when it was first announced, and Zuckerberg had that like hour-long video that showed all the cool things that you're going to be able to do in the metaverse. But I wanted to revisit that to show like what was being discussed as the possibilities and what's actually being delivered. So here we go with that.
Some people say the metaverse will only be virtual. One day, this lecture hall will be made of code. And though they're virtual students, what they'll learn together is real. A surgeon will be able to practice as many times as needed in the metaverse before laying her hands on a real patient. These students aren't really back in 32 BCE, but they can still watch Mark Antony debate in ancient Rome. The metaverse may be virtual, but the impact will be real.
So everything you just saw there and everything you just heard there as a listener, completely fucking made up. Here's
These children
another.
aren't real slave owners, but they can still whip the shit out of.
The founding father metaverse experience.
Technically, they're not Nazis, but
Yeah.
they now understand how one could be led to that.
These children aren't breathing mustard gas. However, they are still on the western front of Germany.
The only mustard these children will be breathing in is at their delicious
The lunch lady. That's all
Yeah.
I got. I'm
Like
fucking
a fake
tired,
lunch,
man.
anyways.
All right, goodbye. I
Nope,
love
not
you.
done yet.
Take your medicine.
I'm dragging you through this, brother. I'm sorry, man.
So I live in St. Louis. Carson lives in California. we're so
another
distant
video.
and don't get to see each other. I miss my dad so much.
How you doing, Car?
Dad's in the room. When it comes to fishing, I annihilate my father.
Oh, my land! Try not to show me up too bad.
It's nice that we're actually doing
Hold
something.
up. There was a frame I wanted to pause on there.
Is it all of the weirdly pornographic ones?
No,
Because
it's
this whole thing is kind of weird and anyway, go. You know what?
it's the one where this armless torso
Yeah,
that's
like I said,
supposed
the
to
pornographic
represent the
one.
daughter is handling a fish, but it's an armless torso in the water, also legless, because again, remember that Meta's own advertisements say that you're legless in this world.
Yeah, Mike,
they-
keep explaining it as if it's not all the pornographic stuff I was talking about.
Yeah, this is weird nugget porn stuff. But yeah, so this supposed father and daughter bonding experience of fishing in what is certainly a post recording backdrop of a very detailed, realistic. Some would call it just a picture of a river that they superimposed onto the actual metaverse. Because the characters themselves look incredibly unconvincing and also don't have arms or legs.
Yeah, this is technology that was established for I don't know if you've ever heard of this, but it's a 1977 film, Star Wars.
right. Yeah. Yeah, I mean they're doing incredible physical effects here by taking pictures of a landscape and then superimposing this nightmare on top of it. But yeah, I mean not even this is actually achievable in the metaverse.
It's
currently.
nice that we're actually doing something together so far apart from each other.
You could probably bond better with your father by, I don't know, playing a shooter together or something. Just don't.
By shooting fish in a barrel, am I right?
Yeah. But let's continue on. Meta is not doing well. Ever since Facebook became Meta, it's been bad. This article from the Economic Times says Facebook may quietly sack 12,000 employees, 15% of its workforce. Meta Platforms is carrying out quiet layoffs at Facebook to slash its headcount as global headwinds and falling ad spends pose serious problems for big tech firms. A Business Insider report said that before a recent weekly Q&A session between the staff and Chief Executive Officer Mark Zuckerberg, executives told directors across the company they should select at least 15% of their teams to be labeled as need support in an internal review process. So basically they're trying to find ways to justify firing people because their business model sucks and they have to cut costs, i.e. labor, in order to make their ends meet for, the investors that really matter. The people who do nothing but reap all the benefits of the corporate structure. This selective restructuring hints at a possible layoff of about 15% of the workforce, or about 12,000 employees. According to the report, the potential layoffs were revealed last week in a post by a Meta worker on Blind, an app popular with tech workers that requires a valid company email address to use anonymously. So, verifiable information about what's going on behind the scenes at Facebook/Meta. Another thing that they're doing is Meta withdraws internship offers after scrapping its full UK program for this year. So pulling out of an entire country and no longer offering internships at that country. And then another cool thing that they're gonna do, which will affect viewers and listeners who engage with the Instagram page. Instagram to increase ad load as Meta fights revenue decline. Following another quarter that saw marketers pull back on their ad spending, Meta today announced it's increasing its ad load on Instagram with the launch of 2 new ad slots amid a slew of product updates for advertisers, including a music catalog for advertisers and a new ad format for Facebook Reels. The company said it will now allow advertisers to run ads on the Explore homepage and in profile feeds. So that's going to be fun and cool, I guess. Meanwhile, though, Instagram Reels began rolling out 30-second ads globally last year, followed by Reels ads on Facebook earlier in 2022. Blah, blah, blah. Just a bunch more ads that you're going to get on your social medias now.
I do really like the idea of someone who's been really careful to compose their Instagram grid in a really aesthetic way. And just occasionally it's interrupted and disrupted by like an ad for Charmin Ultra toilet paper or something.
Hey, are you a bear and do you have trouble wiping your butt?
Oh yeah, was there a
Charmin is
controversy
here.
about that? Where they stole it or something, and everyone's like,
yeah, SNL kind of like directly ripped off a pretty popular YouTuber's.
Hell yeah, that's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Now that's funny, dude.
He was very gracious about it though, but I don't think he should have been. I think he should have been like, fuck SNL because SNL isn't funny. But whatever.
Yeah, he should have killed them.
I wouldn't agree to that.
He should murder the cast of SNL. You should nail them a bomb.
Moving on. So, I think one of the problems of the metaverse is that, I mean, I'll ask you this question. How do you get on the metaverse?
You become the new flesh.
No. Like, let's say
how do you
wanna play the metaverse. How do you do that?
You draw the circle of salt, followed by the magic pentacle, I think.
No,
I don't know. How do you do it?
Exactly. I don't think.
Oh my god!
Nobody really actually knows how to work this fucking thing, which is supposed to be the metaverse. And it turns out what the metaverse is like a series of platforms that in some way all relate to each other, but not really, but kinda, but mostly not really. So I looked up this guide from sproutsocial.com, which is somebody who's trying to cash in on this metaverse nonsense. And this particular article is how to join the metaverse, the complete guide for your brand. Note it's not you joining the metaverse as, I don't know, a person. It's you joining the metaverse as a brand. Facebook's rebrand to Meta in late 2021 made the metaverse a household name, and it's been an internet buzzword ever since. But just because it's a buzzword doesn't mean every brand should join in. In this article, we'll break down how to determine if the metaverse is the right match for your brand. We'll also show you how businesses have already entered this trailblazing tech innovation. Why brands invest in the metaverse? Let's be honest, a 4D immersive universe sounds intriguing to consumers and companies alike. Brands aren't just selling a product or a service, but a futuristic experience. As a pillar of Web3, Web3 is the most made up shit ever, by the way. The metaverse promises technological advances that will transcend the physical and digital realm, decentralize the internet, and transform the society we know today. According to the Sprout Social Index, More than 2/3 of marketers anticipate investing at least a quarter of their budget into metaverse tactics over the next 12 months. Some 33% of marketers believe their brands are ahead of the curve for implementing augmented reality or virtual reality into their social strategy. Brands are more likely to jump on board than consumers who aren't all the way there yet. And I think that's one of the most funny things about this article is the admission that nobody's actually interested in jumping on the metaverse as somebody who wants to buy things, because it's not
Because
real
why?
shit. What's that?
Because why? Just
Yeah,
because
because
why?
exactly
Why?
why. You'll see things like virtual properties that are being sold, and then of course like people who run brands on the metaverse are saying things like, "Look, I bought this virtual house for $120,000. Where else can you buy a property that cheap?" And it's like, well, yeah, I mean, part of the thing about buying property is you want to actually live on it and not have to wear a stupid fucking headset in order to interact with it.
And I imagine it's cheaper in Skyrim.
Yeah, it's way cheaper in Skyrim. All I had to do was kill a couple of trolls, and they gave me the shack. But even Gen Z and millennials, who are most likely to anticipate using AR and VR or extended reality. I don't know what extended reality is.
It's reality, but longer.
Yeah, I guess. But like, it's funny because they introduced alternate reality and virtual reality earlier in the article, and then they just bring in extended reality without explaining what extended reality means. But anyways, who are most likely to anticipate using AR, VR, or XR, extended reality, to interact with brands in the future are still in the minority at 46% each. So only 46% of the younger generation is like, yeah, maybe I'll use it. I don't know. And that's what this article is saying now. But they're trying to like spice it up and make it not look so shitty. As the metaverse grows and becomes more accessible to consumers, adoption will also increase. Metaverses offer an entirely new experience for users to socialize, play games, work, and even make purchases. Even though consumers have been slower to adapt, the excitement around this new technology has skyrocketed on social media. According to Sprout Social Metaverse, listening data from January 10 to March 10, 2022, there was a 102% increase in conversations about the metaverse, with a positive sentiment of 91% on Twitter. Again, Twitter is a very low indicator of the actual population of the world.
Yeah, and that's I don't know. I have to call bullshit. There's no possible way that like
Yeah,
it
no,
was
without a
that
doubt.
positive.
Yeah. Then it gives a bunch of steps, and it's all about like how to monetize your metaverse experience, etc. Pretty fucking garbage. It does have this cool picture of I think this is the same landscapes thing that Mark Zuckerberg was doing, but I mean, are you convinced by what looks worse than Second Life? Scenery.
That's amazing.
Yeah, which is a low bar for people who know what Second Life is.
Yeah, it's 2009 Second Life, but with maybe a higher frame rate. Who fucking knows?
No, it depends on if you're using the browser version.
Right.
So we only have 2 more links left, and I know you're tired and sleepy and stupid or whatever, but
mostly the last one.
Yeah. But one of the other articles, and funny enough, this is from a news organization called CoinDesk, which reports on crypto stuff, right? And Web3 and the metaverse are all directly intertwined with crypto, especially in NFTs, right? And one of the major like selling points of something like metaverse technology, and technology should be put in the heavy quotations here, because it's not really technology so much as it is like I don't know, a video game that you can buy shitty stuff in. And video games that you can buy shitty stuff in have existed for quite a long time. But you know, Web3 is a designator of this new crypto infused economic. I mean, economic should also be put in the quotation marks there, I guess. But economic way of engaging with things. But this article is, it's lonely in the metaverse. Decentraland's 38 daily active users and a $1.3 billion ecosystem. While metaverse platforms Decentraland and the Sandbox both have below 1,000 daily active users, they each have over $1 billion in valuation. So who's actually using the metaverse right now? What's going on in the metaverse these days, you might ask? Looking at two of the biggest companies with over $1 billion in valuations, the answer is surprising, not much, or at least not enough to bring users back every day. According to data from DappRadar, the Ethereum-based virtual world Decentraland had 38 active users in the past 24 hours, while competitor The Sandbox boasted 522 users in that same time. This is low for even like extremely indie games. An active user, according to DappRadar, is defined as a unique wallet address's interaction with the platform's smart contract. For example, logging in onto the Sandbox or Decentraland to make a purchase with sand or mana. Those are the fucking garbage coins associated with both of these metaverse experiences. Oh yeah, the article actually explained that after I did that interjection. Oh, excuse me. This means that DappRadar's compilation of daily active users doesn't account for people who log in and mosey around a metaverse platform or drop in briefly for an event such as a virtual fashion week. It also likely means that these spaces are not where people are making transactions such as buying non-fungible tokens. Because there's no reason to log into like a stupid virtual world to buy an NFT. You can just do that without logging into a virtual world. A developer might defend the low daily stats with the familiar phrase, "Don't hate the player, hate the game." But it seems it's not just one quiet day for the two metaverse platforms. The largest number of daily users ever on Decentraland was 675, according to DappRadar. For the Sandbox, that number was larger at about 4,500. So this is what the metaverse is doing. It's entertaining less than a couple thousand people, all of whom are doing stupid crypto trades with each other, and probably losing a bunch of money on this anyways, because crypto is one of the dumbest things you can trade in. But I did want to look at the final link is the 10 best metaverse platforms to watch out in 2022. And this was released. This article was released last month.
Oh, very exciting.
Yeah. So the first two are the ones that we were just talking about, and those have the highest population. So you've got the Decentraland and the Sandbox. Then you've got Axie Infinity, which is also linked to the massive crash in crypto in general. You've got Gala, which I've never heard of, Engine Coin, which I've also never heard of, Meta Hero, Celebrity Atlas, Blocktopia, High Street, Crypto Voxels.
You're making all of those up.
No,
those are all made up.
I'm at least reading these from somebody who made them up for me.
Oh, okay, cool. How about Chipper Chabber down there, or Coin Slot?
I had to scroll down because I wasn't sure if those were actually there.
Oh, sorry. No, that was never mind. I don't want to say it.
Yeah, no, you're making sex jokes again because you're sick.
man.
Well, anyways, that's all I really had for tonight.
Oh.
I wanted to revisit when the metaverse first came out. We were pretty hard on it. We said it's not a real thing. It'll never be a real thing. And I think time has proven us correct.
It always does. I mean, we've never been wrong.
Yeah, I mean, again, the only thing I
And
think
we
we've
will
ever really
never
been
be wrong.
the only thing we've ever been wrong on was Putin wasn't stupid enough to invade Ukraine, and then he did that. And we were still right in the fact that it's dumb as fuck that he did that, because he's not gotten anything out of it.
Did we say that? That's a thing that we said?
Yeah, I mean, in the
'Cause
lead up,
He's
in
already
the
done
lead
it
up.
before.
Well, yeah, I mean, so there's a huge difference between something like the annexation of Crimea and actually invading Ukraine. Crimea had a lot of Russian sentiment to begin with. And in fact, if he limited his invasion of Ukraine currently to the Donbass, he probably would have been successful. But he overreached. And yeah, we at the time said all this stuff that they're saying about Russia invading Ukraine is stupid, because no one would be stupid enough to do something like that. It would just be another Afghanistan.
Pull that up, Jamie. I don't know if I don't know. Like
It's
maybe,
what we
yeah,
it's
I guess
what we said
that
at the
happened,
time.
happened.
And to be honest, it only shows that we were kind of right in our own way, because it's been a colossally stupid thing for him to do.
It is stupid. I mean,
He fucked up. We didn't think that he was dumb enough to fuck up that bad, and it turns out he is dumb enough to fuck up that bad.
Putin did a little Putin.
Yeah, he did a little poopy Putin.
He's pooting around.
Cool, good.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's all we got for the night, unless you got something else you want to talk about, but I don't think you do, because I'm a sleepy little guy and I want to jack off to my bear collection or my rabbit collection or whatever the fuck I just bought. How many of those rabbits did you fucking buy?
Look, I only have a few grand to spend, all right?
Oh, no. That's a lot of rabbits, buddy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, taxes kind of diminish it a bit, because I was thinking like
the
I
man
could get
always
like
gets
100
his,
of these
doesn't he?
things.
Yeah,
But in reality, I could probably get like 70 or 80. You know?
that's fair.
Shipping, you know.
Mm-hmm. That's where they also get you.
You'd think they give
Shipping.
you free shipping if you were buying 100 bipolar personality disorder dolls.
Well, they all have to be individually packaged, so
Yeah. And let's be fair. I mean, do you want your bipolar personality dolls to be in the same package as one another? That seems like you're
they
asking for
never
trouble.
get along. Imagine putting one of the Gemini rabbits in the same box as what are the conflicting astrological
Cornelius.
signs? Oh yeah,
The Cornelius sign.
the Cornelius. Imagine putting a Gemini in the same box as a Pisces. It would never work out. I don't actually.
We're gonna
know
have
that's...
someone send us.
Yeah,
someone's
gonna be like,
they get along really well.
Yeah, someone's gonna be like, well, air signs and water signs are actually pretty compatible.
Weka, let us know.
Yeah. We love you, even though we're making fun of you, sort of. All right. Well, you have your own opinion, I guess.
She knows how I feel.
Fair enough.
Poorly. Negatively.
All right. Well, we're gonna have Weka fight us in the DMs now, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't think.
I hope she does it in
listens to this.
public. That would be funnier.
That would be funnier.
Yeah. I'm gonna give people bad gardening advice. See what happens.
There you go.
Take my medicine.
Nope,
Take Mike's too.
Nope. Pitch your fucking workshop.
Oh yeah.
We got to get some new blood in there.
It's every Saturday. Come join us. We're still talking about H.P. Lovecraft. Patreon.com/Truncata, Truncata. Yeah, we do a little philosophical reading as well as a piece of fiction each week. It's a good little group, some dedicated people, some people that come in and out. You don't have to dedicate yourself more than upon a whim. You don't have to be there every time. People rarely are. Yeah, that's the whole thing.
There
Come
you
join
go.
us. If you can't
There
afford
you
it,
have
just
it.
hit me up and I'll probably just give you a little Zoom link anyway, you know.
Yeah, we do that often. We you can either contact him or you can contact myself. We will give you the Zoom link most oftentimes if we think you're a genuine person. That being said about the Truncata not podcast workshop,
Workshop.
the Benzo Rehab Dungeon is and always will be a free broadcast. If you like what we're doing here, if you enjoy the content, please go to patreon.com/Benzo Rehab Dungeon. You can donate as little or as much as you like. It doesn't get you anything special. I like to be upfront about that. But I do try to put whatever we make back into the production of the show, be it in subscriptions to news websites or just improving things around here with better equipment. All that aside, we have reached the end of yet another wonderful Benzo Rehab episode. As always, we love you very much. Please take your medicine.
Please take mine too. I was muted.
I was like, wow, man, now is when you're just gonna fucking crash on me.
And share drugs with your friends.
Yeah. Lots of drugs with your friends. Very good. Have a good Nope, sorry, I muted myself. Have a good fucking night, everybody.
Thank God.